Today we are walking from the Queen Mary to the Catalina Express ferry in order to catch the ferry over to Catalina Island. We will be landing in Avalon. That is the ferry port at Catalina. The ride will be approximately 70 minutes long. The walk from the Queen Mary to the ferry landing is about a mile. So we were able to walk across the pedestrian bridge. From the bridge, we could see the view of the Queen Mary. That was very nice. And then we continued our walk until we got to the ferry landing in order to board the 6 a.m. ferry to Avalon Harbor.
The lounge for commoner lounge passengers. Bathrooms are located downstairs on the right-hand side of the galley, as well as the second deck outside. We are a full boat today, so if you have any bags on seats, they need to be at your feet. We QR code to log in by the galleys. Once again, approximately 70 minutes over to Avalon.
70 minutes.
It is recommended that you purchase your ferry tickets prior to the day that you will be sailing, because the tickets can sell out. The ride across on the ferry is very smooth, but if you do get seasick, then it is recommended that you take precautions, because some people do get seasick on the ferry, even though it is smooth. As you see, there is a handy little tray on the back of the seat, so you can put your equipment or your drinks or snacks there. They do also sell snacks and drinks on the ferry, since the ferry is 1 hour and 10 minutes approximately. And there are also restrooms on board, and they are very clean from my experience on this day ride over to Catalina. As we were riding, we could see miscellaneous ships, barges, and such out in the harbor. So that was pretty cool. It was a nice, relaxing ride over to Catalina, and it was nice to watch as the sun came up. Our plan for the day was to get breakfast when we arrived at Catalina, and then we would walk around and shop until the golf cart rental station or office opened. We were going to use Island Rentals, and then that opened at 9 o'clock. Once we got the rental set up, then we would take ourselves on a self-guided golf cart tour of the island. Now, you are not allowed to drive the golf carts around the entire island, but the rental place did provide a map, and we used that map to go around to the spots that they recommended. And then we also had an opportunity to take some nice scenic photographs and see the harbor from the top of the hillside by the Regali Mansion. Here the ferry is arriving at the dock in Avalon, and we will dock and take our time exiting the ferry. The ferry area, the landing is very walkable, and once you get off the ferry, you are able to walk into town. I would say it is less than 1 mile, but you definitely, if you are staying overnight, you want to have a wheeled bag or a backpack, because trying to manage a tote bag or similar is going to be a bit of a challenge as you start walking. I believe some of the hotels and lodging offer shuttle service. So if you are staying over and you have made a reservation, check with your accommodations to see if there is a shuttle. I did see that the staff on the ferry did assist people who needed assistance. On our return trip, there was a lady in a wheelchair, and the staff went in front of her and behind her to help guide her down the ramp so that she could board the ferry safely. I never had this viewpoint before. Look at the bell tower. This area where the ferry docks, there is also a plaza called the Cabrillo Mall, and you can inquire there. There are tour ticket booths and information areas there in the Cabrillo Mall if you are interested in checking out any other tour opportunities or finding out some more information about what is available to do on Catalina Island, and if you did not pre-purchase your tickets for tours or activities, you can inquire at the ferry landing in the area called the Cabrillo Mall. There are also restrooms there as you get off of the ferry. They are clean and well stocked. I used them when we were preparing to go on our inland adventure tour, and there were plenty of available open restrooms, and they were clean. I did see an attendant there cleaning and straightening up and emptying the trash. So some history about the island of Catalina Island. The island has been inhabited for over 8,000 years. The island began being developed into a resort destination by the Banning brothers in 1891. The Banning brothers established the Catalina Island Company, and with that, they began building hunting lodges like the Banning House Lodge. They ran tours around the island as well. They created access to the beach areas such as Lover's Cove, Descanso Beach, and Sugarloaf Point. Sugarloaf Point is now where the iconic casino stands. If you are not aware, the casino is an iconic landmark that has become a focal point for events on the island. It's that big round hallmark building that everybody recognizes as Catalina. It has been a focal point for events on the island since it opened in May 1929. This landmark gets its name from the Italian language where casino means gathering place. Current day, the casino is the location of weddings, special events, and it also houses a movie theater. The special events run year-round, and you can check in the description below. I have links to all of the things that we are discussing in the video. The casino is equivalent of 12 stories tall. The Avalon Theatre is also an architectural masterpiece with its soaring murals, domed ceiling, perfect acoustics, and the original pipe organ built by the Page Organ Company of Lima, Ohio. is one of the last of its kind in the world that's still in operation. Now, one person on our tour had asked, how do people get their things to the island? There are people who go to the island and live for jobs during tourist season. There are people that are allowed to bring a vehicle if they already have a permit. And the tour director said that there is a barge that comes over, I believe she said once a month. And so you can make arrangements to have your items carried over on the barge. Here we are walking along Crescent Avenue on Avalon, in Avalon. Avalon is one of the harbors on Catalina Island. The other harbor that is well known is Two Harbors, and that can be accessed via hydro boat, I think it's called. You would need to go from the east side where Avalon is located and then take that water taxi hydro boat over to Two Harbors. We decided to have our breakfast at the restaurant called Jack's Original Country Kitchen. It had good ratings and the line was smaller than at the Pancake Cottage. The Pancake Cottage is right at the walkway from the ferry. So I think that people coming from the ferry either know ahead of time and they know that they want to eat at the Pancake Cottage, or they see it and smell it as they are walking from the ferry and decide to eat there. Nonetheless, both locations seem to have a nice variety of food and both smelled delicious. So we are headed to Jack's Country Kitchen Breakfast. Hi, two please. So we did arrive at Jack's, and we did see right when we walked in, they were serving Kona coffee. So we opted for some Kona coffee and began checking out the menu. I decided to have the Nova Scotia Eggs Benedict, which was definitely delicious. And my husband had I believe it was just called the breakfast burrito, and it was very large. And it is served with a salsa on top, and the salsa was a little spicy. I also got a side of cottage cheese, and it came with peaches. Oh yes, we also got those little silver dollar pancakes, which were amazing. As you can see, it is a very quiet and peaceful morning on Catalina Island. We were finished eating breakfast and we were just walking around, taking a look at where we might come back later to buy some souvenirs. We were going to head to the golf cart rental, but it did not open until 9 a.m. Another landmark and focal point on the island, especially when you are in Avalon, is a place called the Green Pleasure Pier. The Green Pleasure Pier is where the majority of the water activities will start from if you are getting on a boat or submarine, glass bottom boat. I believe that is also where you can rent boats to use for the day. We were picking up our tickets for our semi-submarine tour, and that would be on the Green Pleasure Pier as well. So once we were finished with the golf cart tour, we did go to the Green Pleasure Pier to get our tickets and then board the semi-submarine for that tour, and you will see that later in this video. Now the walking path here is made with cobblestone and bricks, so it might be a challenge for people with wheelchair or scooter or a cane, so just use caution. It's flat, it can be a little bumpy. At this corner right here is a place called Flix, FLX Beer Garden, and it looks really fun. We did not go there this trip, but it was pretty cool. Has tables, fire pits, games, and lighting for nighttime. There are taxis around the island, which I honestly had not even realized. And also you will probably see shuttles from the different hotels. When you are booking your stay, if you are staying on Catalina, check with your hotel to see if they offer a shuttle from the ferry. This area is the Metropole Marketplace, where you can get something to eat. There's an arcade, and there are shops within this area. All right, as we walk through the Metropole Marketplace, I will let you know that this also has the lobby to the Hotel Metropole. That is tucked back into the corner behind the shops. Some more history about the island of Catalina. In 1915, a fire burned down half of the buildings in Avalon. The Banning brothers tried to salvage their investment, and they built the Hotel St. Catherine. They wanted to try to attract more visitors, but eventually they had to sell the island in 1919. The island was controlled by the Catalina Island Company. William Wrigley purchased a majority of the shares and gained a controlling interest in the island at that time. If the name Wrigley sounds familiar, it is William Wrigley, the chewing gum entrepreneur. So he continued to develop and improve the island as a resort destination. That was his dream, and he continued to develop and build on the island to attract more visitors. On this area of the island, we are sitting in front of the Blue Water restaurant, and that is located right at the harbor. So we're sitting at a bench that is in front of Blue Water, and then as you enter into Blue Water, you would be able to have ocean view while you are dining. I will include a link in the description so that you will have that information about the restaurant. There are a lot of places on Catalina where you can just sit and watch the day go by. You can do people watching. You can plan the rest of your day, relax, have an ice cream. It's a very chill environment, and you can be as busy or as relaxed as you wish. There are a lot of things to do on Catalina. There are horse stables where you can go horseback riding. There are tours that you can take through the interior of the island. There are tours that you can take on a boat out in the ocean. You can charter a boat. You could take a boat or a taxi to two harbors. I believe you can take a taxi. That I'm not 100% sure because there was a little bit of conflicting information online. But there is also a golf course. There is a miniature golf course. There are golf cart rentals, and I will give you some more information about that as well. As you can see here, we did rent a golf cart from Island Rentals. They have a program where you pay cash. You will pay for the first hour, and then they will charge you for the second hour when you come back to the Island Rentals shop. The way it works is they will prorate the second hour. If you use 10 minutes of the second hour, it's $10. If you use 40 minutes of the second hour, it's $40. So the first hour at this time, summer 2025, it is $70. And then you have the cart reserved for 2 hours. They do provide you a map, and that is what you will see we are following here as we travel along in our golf cart rental. So we had scheduled our semi-submarine tour after our golf cart tour. We knew that we wanted to do the portion of the map that would take approximately an hour, and then that would give us about 30 minutes to get from the golf cart rental over to the Green Pleasure Pier, where we would board our semi-submarine for the semi-submarine tour. So we already had arranged and pre-purchased our tickets through Catalina Adventure Tours, and I will include the link below. And a reminder, if you are enjoying this long-form content, please give us a follow, like, comment, subscribe. So here on YouTube, where I am posting this video, the subscription is free. Subscribe just means you are following, and you can turn on notifications if you are interested in getting a notification when there is a new video. Otherwise, you would just go into YouTube, look at your profile, look at your subscriptions, and then you would see a little blue dot indicator that there is a new video from Mom's Travel Team. So on this portion of the golf cart tour, we are riding along Pebbly Beach Road, and this area is called Lover's Cove. Now, I won't do a commentary on the entire tour, but I did include some captions, and if you have any questions about any portion of the video, you can definitely take note of the time markers and ask any questions in the comments. And thank you so much for watching. Again, feel free to give a like, a comment, subscribe. Even if you've only come this far, you can comment about something and subscribe and come back later and watch the rest. I want you to get a great idea of what it's like to spend the day on Catalina Island. As we ride along Pebbly Beach Road, you will see the Buffalo Nickel Restaurant. That is one of the oldest restaurants on Catalina Island. I believe I read that it opened in around 1980, which doesn't seem that old, but considering the island, there could have been some ebbs and flows in restaurants opening and closing. But here you will see the Buffalo Nickel, and there is also Silver Canyon Pottery, and I will include the links with the information below in the description. Please consider subscribing to our channel so that you can see some more amazing destinations around California and other destinations if we manage to travel outside of California. We do visit Arizona. We plan on going on more cruises, but we definitely have a lot of content to get you started on your journey looking at the different destinations, travel tips and tricks from Mom's Travel Team. So this is the scenic overlook, it looks like. When you're done, I'll show you what I'm talking. Oh, see over there where there's a road going up to the resort or the mansion? That's this.
Uh-huh.
And then this will be where the cross is just past.
All righty.
So here is some more information about renting the golf cart. We did rent from a company called Island Rentals. They are at 125 Pebbly Beach Road. Now, they do not take reservations. They are first come, first serve. The information on their website explains they are conveniently located just 500 feet from the boat terminal. They are family owned and operated by the Whitaker family since 1981. There's a limit of 4 people per cart, and remember, kids are people too. They count in that 4-person total. They have toddler and infant seats available, limit of 2 per car. They do offer military discounts, and they support the troops. Drivers must be at least 25 years old with a valid driver's license on their person and proof of insurance. I do not recall that we had to show proof of insurance, but we look very old, so I guess he just assumed that we have insurance. They charge $70 for the 1-hour scenic tour and a $60 deposit for the second hour, and that is prorated as I explained earlier in the video. The website does say there is a 2-hour maximum. They open at 9 a.m. daily, and the closing time varies depending on the season. All carts return to the lot 1 hour prior to dusk, and that determines the closing time. So another thing to think about is the cart with 4 seats. You're going to have everybody facing forward. If you go to another cart rental and they offer 6 seats, you're going to have 2 people at the back of the cart that are facing backwards. They are not going to be able to see the scenery as you are approaching. They're going to see where they've been, not where they're going. I think that may also cause people to get motion sickness. So if you have more than 4 people in your party, I would recommend getting 2 carts. Especially at Island Rentals, they only have 4-person carts. I found them to be very hospitable, accommodating, friendly. They have the map already ready for you, and you can ask them about scenic spots to stop along the way. We found that there was plenty of space to stop safely at the side of the road, but keep in mind this is a 2-way road the majority of the way, so be mindful of other traffic and be mindful that you do not park so far on the shoulder that you go down the hill. This area here was cool. My husband has a coworker who had mentioned to him about a spot where there's a cross on the hillside and that you can go out there and take photographs. Do I have a photograph of the cross? No. Do I have a video of the cross? No. But this is the spot where you would walk down and then you can get out to this landmass. It's very flat and safe. It's not like, on the edge of a cliff. And then you get to Oh, you could see the cross here. So as you walk down to this area, then you can see the cross and you can look down across the harbor and get some nice photographs and video. Do you see the stone house?
Yes, I know. That looks gorgeous. It's even got the window shape.
here we are driving through the city. We had come down off of Wrigley Road. At Clemente, we made a left, and then on Tremont, made a right. And now we will be traveling up Avalon Canyon Road. I believe that is the street. Yes. And then when we get to the fork in the road, we would take the left fork, and that will continue on up past the horse stables, past the golf course, and past there is a nature center. Nature center, I do not believe is active. So passing the golf course on the left, passing Hermit Gulch Campground on the right, and then at the very top of the hill, we would come to the Wrigley Memorial Gardens or the Wrigley Memorial and the Botanic Gardens. So I wanted to also let you know there are a lot of beaches on Catalina Island. Many of them you cannot just drive to. You would need to research and see if you can take a water taxi, a charter boat. I believe there is another boat called the Cyclone Boat. There is also a ranch called El Rancho Escondido. I do believe they still do tours to that location. There are several campgrounds because there is something called the Trans-Catalina Trail. It is 38.5 miles, and you can get a permit and hike that trail. Part of that trail would require you to stop and stay overnight, so that is why we have the different campgrounds. There is also a new campground that is going in. It's going to be more of a glamping scale type of opportunity. I cannot remember. I'm trying to look on the map right now. I don't remember the exact location, but we did see it during our inland adventure tour. Again, the inland adventure tour, we did purchase tickets ahead of time through the Catalina Adventure Tours website. I did also call and speak with them because I wanted to make sure to fit the items into my day without it being too hectic. So here we are driving up. You can see the golf course on the left. And this is a 2-lane road, so you can have traffic going up and coming back. We did also see a deer. I didn't pay attention to the video right now, but I did mark it on the video, so you will see that will show up on the right-hand side. Some of the other areas around Catalina Island, I talked about the ranch. There went the deer. There is an eagle's nest, and apparently there is a webcam, so you can check out the eagle on the webcam. Typically, you should be able to just search by the location. So you could say Eagle's Nest, Catalina Island, webcam, and you'll be able to find that. Then some of the names of the other campgrounds are Little Harbor Campground. Hermit Gulch Campground is closer to Avalon. And let's see, Blackjack Campground. There is an area called Moonstone Beach. There is Simi Fox Landing. So that is CIMI. It is showing that is a children's camp. There is Goat Harbor Campsite, Cabrillo Harbor, Santa Catalina Island Campsite, Lava Wall Campsite, and there's an area called Empire Landing. And there is also an airport in the middle, not in the middle, at the more western end of the island. Actually, correction. It's on kind of the eastern, closer to Avalon, but again, it's not going to be where you're just kind of driving down the road and you see it. Many of these locations are in the interior of Catalina, so they do require a permit. I am not 100% sure if civilians can just rent a vehicle or take a taxi through. There are different tours that will take you to different areas of the island. At the very, very western point of the island is Starlight Beach and Ribbon Beach. And then there's also an area called Camp Cherry Valley. And it says it's top rated. So it looks like there is a boat mooring there. So some other information about Catalina. We did get up to the information about the fire that happened in 1915. Also, this day, the descendants of William Wrigley still own the Catalina Island Company and carry on the vision to create a world-class island resort. So the cool thing is that even though they are working to create a world-class island resort, there is a land trust that is maintained and managed by the Conservancy on the island. So then that is going to continue to preserve the flora, fauna, the terrain, so that it is controlled, managed, and not burdened, overpopulated, or just, having the whole island overrun, basically. So that is a good thing. All right, let's talk a little bit more about the Catalina Island Conservancy. So they offer all types of services and resources. They offer volunteer opportunities, ways that you can get involved on the island. There are restoration projects happening. There are FAQs on their website that you can read and see what they're all about. Some of the resources include permits, maps, news and stories, policies, and information. So with the permits, if you are going to want to go into the interior of the island, then you would contact the Catalina Island Conservancy. It does show on their website they have a free-wheeler bike pass, a hiking permit, a hunting permit, non-commercial road permit, commercial road permit. So with each of these, you would want to look at the details to see what is exactly required to get the permit. You can always call them ahead of time as well. So non-commercial road permit, that would be just a regular vehicle, such as, and they do have restrictions, vehicles under 1 ton. Example would be a Suzuki Samurai, which that explains why I saw a lot of them on the island. Or it also says most electric vehicles. Cars and pickup trucks 1 to 2.5 tons, such as a Toyota Tacoma, Ford Ranger, and those happen to be the most common vehicles on the island. And then also a trailer or a camper or a moped. Some of the options are a day pass, a yearly pass, or yearly renewal for those who live the lifestyle and want to keep coming back. And each of these, I believe, here are the requirements. You will need to provide contact information, valid driver's license, current vehicle insurance, current vehicle registration, active Conservancy membership. So you will be requested to provide that documentation during the application process. And I believe that is available online. So you can apply online. And then also on the Catalina Island Conservancy website, you will find the information about the daily permit fees, the annual permit fees. It will show you a link for the application for the daily permit or the annual permit, and then also opportunity to add additional driver. So make sure you check that website out. Again, that is the Catalina Island Conservancy, and I'll have the information below in the description with a link and then more information. All right, as we travel down the hill, we are headed back into the city of Avalon, and we are still traveling on the Avalon Canyon Road. Once we get to the bottom, we will be turning and going up Country Club Road, and Country Club Road will be leading us into the more secluded area. So it is allowed to have golf carts on there, but you will start to see less populated and fewer buildings in this area. It is a steep grade, but it's not too much for the golf cart. Along Country Club Road, we will see the Catalina Country Club, and then also there is Catalina Canyon Inn and the Catalina Golf Course. The Catalina Golf Course and the Catalina Country Club are located at 1 Country Club Drive. I keep saying Country Club Road, but it is Country Club Drive. Catalina Canyon Inn is located at 888 Country Club Drive. So we will be continuing up Country Club Drive, and then that will lead into kind of the mountains. And then as we're heading up, on the left will be more of the open space, and on the right will be the country club, the Catalina Canyon Inn, and I believe there might be a restaurant there. We did see a sign as we were driving up that said now open, but I believe, oh, there it is right there. That may be the country club and restaurant connected to the golf course. So as we go up Country Club Drive, we will then be coming to La Mesa, I believe it is. Las Lomas Drive. At Las Lomas, we will still be seeing the same similar type of scenery as we're heading up. On the right will be housing, and on the left is more of the open space. Now, one thing you might notice, there are a lot of eucalyptus trees along the edge of the road. When we took the Inland Adventure Tour, the guide did explain to us that those trees were planted on purpose because the roots go straight down and they help to keep the soil in place so that the road does not deteriorate. So I found this really interesting because these are eucalyptus trees and they are notorious for being a hazard during wildfires. They do have that eucalyptus oil in them, and so sometimes that can be more hazardous during fire season. Being that Catalina has only had 2 major fires, and none of them seem to have affected these specific trees along this road, so that could be why they haven't done any kind of removal of those trees, because it's kind of like, okay, do we remove the trees and the road falls down, or do we just manage them and keep them there so that the road stays, but then mitigate the risk by managing the trees to minimize the chance of the fires. So here we are on Las Lomas Drive, and we're continuing to drive up. And as you can see, there's lots of little houses tucked in there. These houses have the $1 million view, definitely. And then I'm looking at the map. The map is saying that part of this road we're traveling on will be called La Mesa. As I'm looking at Google Maps, I do not see La Mesa. So when you receive the map from the golf cart rental company, just look at the highlighted areas and then pay attention to where you are driving based on those highlighted areas. So another portion that as we're going along, you can definitely see there are beautiful views that you're going to want to really pay attention to. And we were wanting to get back for our submarine tour, but you could take a more leisurely drive and make as many scenic stops as you like for photographs. The road that we will eventually be turning onto will become a one-way road, and that road is going to lead us to the Chimes Tower, and that is the bell tower. Let me see, I'm looking for it on the map. Pay attention as you're driving along. The scenic spots are marked on the map. It's just a rustic kind of map that the cart rental place will provide to you, but they do have the scenic spots marked, so you would be able to plan ahead as you're approaching and then stop and view those scenic spots. As we continue along on our our golf cart tour, I will give some more information about the island. So, in 1975, Philip Knight Wrigley and his wife Helen, as well as his sister Dorothy Wrigley Ofield, deeded 42,000 acres of Catalina Island to the Catalina Island Conservancy. This is a non-profit organization that had been established 3 years earlier in 1972. This conservancy is the oldest and largest private land trust in California. Now back to the video. As you are driving along this road, we will be coming to the Chimes Tower. I believe it is called the Chimes Tower, and it is marked on the map. So when you get your map from the golf cart rental vendor, they will have that marked for you. You will also hear and then see people participating in zip lining. That is also along this road. You should come to the zip lining before the Chimes Tower. Now, it looks like we're going really fast here, but we're really not. We are going by what the speed limit signs say, and you definitely want to abide by that so that you're staying safe and not coming up to a sharp turn or something and have an accident. Some more information about Catalina. According to the website visitcatalinaisland.com, the Conservancy has a continuing mission to be a responsible steward of the lands through a balance of conservation, education, and recreation. Now, there are other tours that are available on the island. They include taxis and tours. So there is a Catalina taxi and tour company. They can take you up to the airport in the sky for lunch, plan a scenic picnic at Hay Press, or leave the crowds behind for a secluded beach day at Little Harbor. So these are going to be things that you will be able to find on CatalinaExpress.com. That includes all the information that you would need to arrange your tours. And then also there are Catalina Eco Tour. There is a listing that says Bison Expedition. Now, I did talk about the bison earlier, that the bison population is being controlled and will eventually go away because the bison are actually not native and they are destructive to the flora, fauna, and the landscape of Catalina Island. So through controlling their breeding, the bison are expected to go away on the island. There is also a location called El Rancho Escondido, and there is a tour available for that as well. So because a lot of these attractions are outside of the city of Avalon, you would make arrangements with one of the tour companies to take a tour to any one of these different interest points. Now, sometimes people say, oh, Catalina is boring. There's nothing to do there. But I think that even if you were there for a week, you could definitely take in all the different things that Catalina has to offer. So not only having a nice meal, sitting by the seaside and having a beautiful dinner, taking a tour of the casino, again, that is Italian for gathering place, walking around the city, just enjoying that slow pace, dreaming that maybe you are in Italy or the Mediterranean, having a cocktail or a non-alcoholic refreshment, going horseback riding. You could go hiking at your own pace. You can do a short out and back, a longer trek. Again, remember, you would need to get the permits through the Catalina Island Conservancy. And even if you are not expecting to see bison, but you are interested to see the interior, there are other tours that offer different rides into the interior. So that could potentially be one that is an inland adventure tour. It could be an eco tour for ecological purposes, or it could be just to go to the El Rancho or just to go to the airport. But as you can see, there's a lot to do on Catalina. Now, as you are touring the island, whether it's with an organized tour or if you are going on a golf cart, you will see some landmarks that you may want to research. If you're on a self-guided tour, you wouldn't have as much information, but you could prepare before you go, and you will see things like the Zane Grey Pueblo. You will see the Wrigley Mansion. You will see a home that was built by Wrigley for guests that might visit him on the island, so they would have a place to stay. You will see a location called the Inn at Mount Ada, and that one I believe is open to the public for lodging. And I will include all that information. There is some cross-checking, like if you're looking at website for visitcatalina.com, they may have a little bit of information about vacation rentals and lodging, camping, and so many of the links could lead you to the same information. So now here we are going back into the city, and I believe we are on Beacon Street, and Beacon Street kind of is like a little jiggy jog where you cross over Sumner Avenue and then pick up Beacon Street again. And then you will go down, let's see, I think actually we go down Whitley to Crescent and across Crescent and back up on Metropole. And when you go back up on Metropole, so the reason why this path is going this way is because a portion of Crescent Avenue is closed to vehicles. So here we will turn up Metropole after, I think we're going up Metropole after Flick's Beer Garden. So drive up Metropole until you get to Beacon, go left onto Beacon, and then across Sumner, left onto Beacon, a right onto Sumner, and then a left back onto Beacon. And then you're going to go across until you get to Clarissa. Clarissa will lead you back down towards Crescent Avenue, and then you are on your way back to return the golf cart to the rental location. And for us, on this day, after we returned the golf cart to the rental location, which was Island Rentals on Pebbly Beach Road, after we returned the golf cart, then we were off to our next adventure, and that would be the Submarine. Now we will be going to the Green Pleasure Pier to board the semi-submarine tour. This is a submarine that goes and gets submerged, but not completely. And then you can view the fish through the portholes in the submarine. Another feature that is in the submarine, they have a feeding torpedo launcher thing that you can purchase a certain number of torpedoes, I guess, of the fish food, and then they will activate your little portal where you're looking through the porthole to see the fish. You will see a red light and a green light. When the light is red, it's not ready to launch yet. When it's green, it is ready to launch. So each person can have 4, 8, or 12 food launches, and you can purchase that at the beginning of the tour. They will get you all loaded onto the submarine, and then they will give you all the information about food launch. Here you see the stairway or the ladder down into the submarine and the seats. So there will be one person per seat, and everybody will be facing the same direction. So here you see 4, 8, or 16 food launches, and here it says reload or armed. When it is armed, it's ready to launch, and you are in full control. You can launch all of them at once, but you'll want to pace it out because they do coast around in the lagoon area, the bay area of Catalina Island Harbor, and they will stop at 3 different locations. You will see 3 different types of fish in each location, meaning one location has some medium-sized fish, one location has some larger fish, and one location has some smaller fish. Now that's just my interpretation from my observation. There is narration while you are on the submarine, so they will describe to you all the fish that you are seeing, how to determine what type of fish it is, and then the narration also will tell you about the plants that you see in the ocean there with the fish. It's actually really cool. And then they will let you know, okay, we're going to move to the next spot. So don't launch your food right at that time because you'll kind of leave the food behind. You want to launch your fish food when you are sitting in one spot. That way, when you launch the food, you'll see the fish go right in front of the porthole where you are watching for the fish. If you're watching the video and you look towards the top of the screen or to the top edge of the porthole, you should be able to see when the food is launched, and then you'll see the fish hurry over to that porthole. And now we have finished our semi-submarine tour. This tour was purchased through Catalina Adventure Tours, and that link is in the information below. If you are enjoying this day trip, please give us a follow, subscribe, which is free, comment, and give a thumbs up. That helps us a lot.
Buddy, you did a great presentation.
Thank you.
You're awesome.
You believe I've only been doing it for 4 weeks?
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
You got it down. Fast learner.
Yeah. These are working a lot of the fishing boats out of Newport. Anywhere from the 180s, 100 miles, chasing tuna, even down to just the local school.
How about whale watching tours or anything like that?
I've done that. Boring stuff ever.
Because it looks like you got the talent for narration.
It is. They don't stay still. So we see them. Every trip is 2 hours, so we see them, and then we got to drop you off, and then we go back out, and they're going.
Yeah.
And we have like 7 boats all out looking for them on the radio, and sometimes they just spook, and then people obviously aren't too.
What was that fish we saw the last time? I don't know how to pronounce it. Nola?
The mola mola.
Oh, the mola mola. Yeah, the giant sunfish.
Yeah.
I saw that. We didn't see any whales, but I was happy to see that instead.
And that was in San Diego.
Laziest fish in the entire world, and spends its entire life drifting. It never swims. It drifts at the top of the ocean with its mouth open, and it eats those. If you ever seen those weird looking blue jellyfish that are flat, they're called by the wind sailors.
I love the way that looks with the original cement and all the rocks, and then cement that they poured, and then houses on top of that.
Yeah. And we were all the way up there by that stone house.
Yeah.
Tell this guy in the boat, sir, you're going to be sorry.
No, that's a big boat. The one we got was small, huh?
Right? Like that.
Yeah.
Oh my God, that was so
If I allowed 'em.
terrifying. I know. Too many diarrhea.
So there's the flag, and the cross was up there by that.
Yep.
That's the life.
Aww.
That's paradise.
That boat lives here too. Look, he got a piece of kelp. After our semi-submarine ride was complete, we did have some time to walk to the casino. This is a very popular area for taking photographs, and as you can see, there's a lot of people there taking photos. We were at Catalina Island in July, the end of July, so it is peak season. Now, on the right-hand side down here, you can see there's a little strip of beach. That doesn't lead down to the water. That's just like a little lounging area. There are other areas that lead down to the water. And then here we're just walking along the coast as we head towards the casino. And if you recall, casino means gathering place. So at this area where we are, this is called St. Catherine's Way. So we will be walking along St. Catherine Way, passing the Catalina Island Yacht Club, various and sundry boats that are moored out in the harbor. And then we will be coming up to the walkway that leads to the casino. Now remember, the casino houses a movie theater. At this time, there is a skating rink, roller skating. I believe that is on the second level. So you can go in and go roller skating. There is also scuba diving on the coast, right at the edge of the casino. You'll see as we get up there. It is a very popular place for scuba diving and snorkeling. It is the Casino Point Dive Park, and there is, excuse me, the Casino Point State Marine Park. And so that is going to be an underwater marine park. And it is a marine conservation area that is very popular for scuba diving. Some people come over on the ferry with their equipment. Other people choose to rent equipment when they get to the casino. I believe there are also dive groups that organize trips over to Catalina for diving and such. Now, I did have some more information about private citizens. They are allowed to moor their boats there at Catalina, and you would need to get your information about that from, I believe it is the Catalina Island Conservancy. So that information is linked below. You can take a look and see what is included or what is required for mooring your boat down there at the marina and in the available mooring spots at Catalina Island. So as we are walking towards the casino, it's a great opportunity to just take a look out at the ocean. Look how clear the water is. You can probably see some of the California state fish, the Garibaldi, in the water. I do not see any in this specific video, but if you are there in person, you might be able to see some right from the walkway. So here we continue, look at the beautiful tiles there on the wall as we walk towards the casino. From the jet ski?
I can feel the bass.
Yeah. Look at that little thing. It tows you around in the water.
Look at that, man.
Oh. Here you will see we have arrived at the area that is very popular for snorkel and scuba. Scuba and snorkeling on Catalina, snorkeling is free on Catalina, although there is a charge for renting any equipment. It is obvious right here by the casino that this is the area for snorkeling and scuba. Now, let me see. I am not sure about scuba. If scuba charges a fee, you can go on self-guided or a guided tour. So I will definitely include the information about scuba in the description because everything I'm seeing is about snorkeling, and that may be because snorkeling is more beginner friendly. Okay, while we continue to walk around the dive and scuba area here by the casino, I did verify that scuba is not free at Catalina. Though it is free to enter the water, the scuba may require things like renting equipment, chartering a boat, or taking a guided tour. I will include the link in the description. You can get more information from the Visit Catalina Island.com website, and that link will be in the description. Okay, now we are going to be walking back towards the city of Avalon. If you were to walk around the casino and then go towards the right, you would end up at Descanso Beach. Descanso Beach is another area that is great for lounging around. There is a bar, there are lounge chairs. I think there is a fee for renting the lounge chairs and the cabanas. I will put information below in the description. Again, we get to see the beautiful tile along the wall as we walk back towards Avalon City. Okay, now it is time for lunch, and we will be going to the original Antonio's. That is a pizza place located on Sumner Avenue. The pizza slices are served to go only, so you can order those on the window outside. As you can see, the decor is pretty cool. They have beer labels and such on the ceiling, and then it's a small, quaint little restaurant. And when you dine in, you can order whole pizza or other different pizza type dishes. I don't think they had pasta, but they did have sandwiches and pizza, and it was very tasty, made fresh, and you can see right into the kitchen, so you can see the chef there making the food while you wait. After lunch, we did a little bit of shopping, and then it was going to be time for the Inland Adventure Tour. The Inland Adventure Tour, you will meet your group and vehicle at an area called the Cabrillo Mole. The Cabrillo Mole is located near where the ferries dock, so you will walk back over to that area and get ready for your tour. Be sure to check your tickets or your printout to make sure of what the correct meeting location is. Our meeting location was at the Cabrillo Mole.
Yes.
Hello. Welcome aboard.
Thank you.
You're welcome. That'll make it in.
Yes.
Hi there. There you go. Welcome aboard.
The microphone and headset for the narrator during the Inland Adventure Tour, was cutting in and out. So I did edit some of that out, and hopefully you will get the gist of the tour from the parts that I did leave in. So when the microphone was cutting out, we couldn't hear it anyway, so able to hear it if
I was wondering how they did that. There's no way
this
you could
replay.
stick somebody in there and paint a wall or finish that construction, but they did it. And so some people, we're really, space is very valuable here. You'll see some people actually put patios up on top of their house.
That's what I would do.
That's what, the city's not going to develop any further unless you're on Hamilton Cove. So this is, you get what you have. Down Eucalyptus, we're not sure why it's called that, but a lot of this, because there's no eucalyptus, but a lot of the houses in that area are buying prefab houses and having those put in, maximize the space. And this is Vaughn's, our only grocery store here in town. This is where, 4,000 of us go shopping, and the majority of our visitors will go through there as well, because eventually everybody needs something from the market. And sometimes we go there 3 or 4 times a day because we this building over here on the corner, built in 1889, our community church. And then this is our museum. They have artifacts from the Tangla from 8,000 years ago, as well as all the history of Avalon. And then when Wrigley purchased the island, it was under Santa Catalina Island Company, and these are the business offices right here. And then we have a post office where we have 9 mailmen. And this is a beer garden. It was opened up last year, very popular. There's our pop-up barbecue place as well. They have beer pong, table games, fire pits. I think they might have a band either today or tomorrow.
Because I wouldn't have a garage here.
There's going to be Night Rider here tonight at Wrigley Stage, so there is going to be some music. They might have their own beer garden. We'll see. But I believe it's after 8 o'clock. I'll have to check my schedule. And then we're going to be passing Blue Water. It's another seafood place. They have free sourdough bread, and it's delicious. Free is, you'll hear very rare from anybody here in Avalon. So I take advantage of that. Sometimes I stop by just to get some bread.
That one's Blue Water, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then Pier 24 is a brand new restaurant. I've only heard great things about it. They have burgers as well, but it's mainly Italian food. And here is our iconic casino. Casino in Italian means a gathering place. It does not have any gambling. So it was built in 1929. It is the Art Deco design. It only has 2 stories. It's 12-story high, but there's only 2 levels. The first level is the movie theater, where they play silent movies, and now they mark parent movies on Friday and Saturday nights. And then on the second floor is a ballroom. At the time, was the world's largest circular ballroom. They would have big bands playing there, broadcast live nationwide. So they did about 3,000 people. Right now, they actually allow roller skating. So if you want to go roller skating, whenever the casino is open, they have these steamships coming from Long Beach, a fit 2,000 people. They would have those big bands playing. Once they arrived to Pier 24, that was original structure, they would continue that party on in the casino. And then in 1921, Wrigley built a home for his wife. It has 3 stories, 6 bedrooms, a Turkish bath. That is a part of the estate. But it was donated to USC in 1945 and leased out to the Island Company in 1985. So it is a bed and breakfast, adults only. And the only way you can access the property is if you're staying there. If you don't stay there, you're not welcome to, visit the property. The public can go once a year in December when the museum holds an open house, and that is the only time the public is welcome to the property. And it is across on the other side of the hill, above that white picket fence, or white fence, by that flagpole. That is Mount Ada. And Wrigley built that there so his wife can have the first view of the sunrise in the morning and the last view of the sunset in the evening. That was the evening, in case, the mic did pick it up. And then below is the brand new Wrigley Mansion. That is the one white with the teal color accent next to the flagpole. And that was originally E.K. Wrigley's home, but it was recently renovated for the great-granddaughter Allison Wrigley and her husband Jeff Lusack. They are originally from Santa Barbara, so when they do come into town, this is where they stay. The renovation cost $11 million, which isn't much considering they sold the Wrigley Bubblegum Company over to Mars for $23 billion. And plus they still own the Island Company, so they are still profiting from everything in Avalon, which is a majority of hotels, restaurants, and activities. Allison is known to drive a golf cart that says, "Yes, I do own the roads." And then you see that house that's kind of on the left-hand side on the bottom, brown and has the white windows. That is the one that's in the house. That's the one that's kind of perched out, and they selected that location for the bird's eye view. And then you also notice the breaks on the hillsides over there. Those are fire breaks. We did have 2 fires here. One in 1915 that destroyed half of Avalon, and another one in 2007, which started in the interior next to Toyon Bay. And so the concern, they were just destroying the inside of the island. There was no vegetation on the hillside, so the hillsides just looked like piles of dirt. So the Conservancy ended up selling the majority of them over to private ranches, as well as the Indian Reservation in South Dakota. That area down there, that is Hamilton Cove. Those are private community. A lot of rich and famous people live there. You can purchase units that are over, $1 million. You can rent units there. Some units have elevators. Most of them have stairs. If you do get a location, if you end up, renting there or purchasing, make sure you know how many steps you get to your unit. Some people have actually up to 120 steps. I had 66 at one of these, on my other
questions? Honey?
Yes, I do. Thank you for asking.
Let's see if we can find it.
I want to get a shot of some of these tiles.
Remember, we only have 10 minutes.
Yeah.
But if you guys have any questions, please let me know. I will try to answer them. Otherwise, we're going to be playing some music on the way back.
If you have a seat, we'll get closer. Okay.
Say when.
Look at him. Look at how wrinkly his skin is.
You don't sell moisturizer.
No, but it looks like he has like that stuff like Gary's dog. Oh, hey, Chihuahua.
That was awesome. He did it for us.
He did. Okay, well, the bison was pretty much the highlight of that inland adventure tour. And as I stated before, the bison population is being reduced by giving the bison contraceptives, I guess, so that they do not breed and repopulate because they are so destructive to the flora, fauna, and the landscape. But some more facts about Catalina Island. There was a time when the Chicago Cubs had their spring training on Catalina Island. This was from 1921 to 1941 and again from 1946 to 1951. In 1921, Wrigley made Avalon the spring training home of his beloved Chicago Cubs, building the Catalina Country Club to house the team's lockers and provide a gathering place for the players. While I finish reading this information, you'll see the video is showing the harbor and some more of the submarines going out and coming back from their tours, and just some more scenery around the harbor of Catalina. At this point, I believe we were getting ready to wait for the ferry to return back to Long Beach. So during the time that the Chicago Cubs were on the island, they continued to train there until 1951. Some other facts. During World War II, the island served as a military training facility and was closed to tourists. The island was a popular spot with Hollywood's elite during the 30s, 40s, and 50s. It also became a popular location for production companies to shoot movies. More than 500 films, documentaries, commercials, and TV shows have been shot in and around Catalina over the years, especially in 2 harbors on the island's west end. There is a post office on Catalina, but the post office on Catalina doesn't deliver mail. The residents will go to the post office and pick up their mail. Some of the interesting history of Catalina is that several different animals were taken to the island in 1920 for a movie. The animals were left on the island. This includes the bison that are on the island now. The population of the bison, as I stated before, is being controlled, and they will eventually die off. The last bison birth was in 2013. So if you are seeing in the video, there are some menus showing, and this is at the Avalon Grill, where we did have a buffalo milk cocktail that was very refreshing. It seems that each different bar or restaurant has a little bit of a twist on the recipe, but definitely try it when you are there. Please do like, subscribe, comment on the video, and continue to support if you love travel content. So here we are. This was at the end of our day. We actually did spend 12 hours on the island, and I hope you have enjoyed the recap of our adventures on Catalina, and I hope this is useful to you in planning your trip, or if you are taking a virtual tour. I hope you enjoyed this presentation of Catalina Island.